Welcome to Stupid Clock. Thanks, John. Appreciate that. Uh, I'm Joe Dog. This is Stupid O'clock. We're ready for our Thursday night show. Go ahead and pull everybody in.
I cannot believe you blamed me for that.
Oh, so it was Dan's fault.
Nope, I didn't click on anything. I know you did that.
No, we know you did that. You
I-
really need to get some new repertoire.
You're a terrible, terrible actor.
No,
The look of surprise on your face was so Hollywood.
I've seen Muppets with more acting depth. Okay,
Animal.
What? Did I look like Chris Rock getting slapped?
no, that would have been hilarious. Actually, where's Will Smith when we need him?
Cowering beneath Jada Pinkett's dress.
Hey, don't say that too loud. He might hear you and come get you.
Yeah.
Keep your wife's name out of your fucking. Okay. Anyway,
I think I could stand on one leg and take one of Will Smith's slaps. It was just
I don't
about
know.
as hard as he got hit Chris Rock. Chris Rock just didn't move a muscle, and he
You can see
came back.
by the end of the segment, that face was starting to swell up a little bit.
Hey, Michaela.
Hey, Michaela, how you doing? Of course, Joe Bachman's already jumped in here.
Yep.
Hoping everybody's had a good evening. Hey, Michaela, how you doing?
all right.
Turn that off, John.
I did. I went to look at the YouTube page and the song. Normally, when I go to the YouTube page, it doesn't actually start broadcasting, but for some reason it did this time and had sound on.
And hello, Carl.
And Donna.
And Donna. Yeah.
Wow, we've
So-
actually got more people in the audience than we do on
Yeah.
screen tonight.
Hey, look, let's just watch them tonight.
And hey, Angie. You need to talk to Lewis and tell him he needs to get back on the show. We miss him
No
over.
kidding. Really?
See, Angie's one of Lewis's friends.
Ah. He's been
Well,
commenting on my Facebook post all day today.
well,
We need Lewis back.
Yes. Especially because I've been wanting to talk to him about this. I don't know if y'all been watching in my post or anything like this, but who the heck is that? Oh, okay. Anyway, I've got this pen pal, for lack of a better term, in Ukraine.
Yeah.
okay.
She does a blog post. She's been doing it since 80s, or I caught on to it in the late 90s, early 80s, or early 2000s. And she does this really interesting historical thing about Ukraine. And she talks about how early Ukraine with the Mongol invasions, and then she talks about World War II and the Nazis taking over Kiev and Ukraine. And then she talks about Chernobyl. And she's a motorcycle enthusiast and a military historian enthusiast. And she does all these really great little blog videos. You go to her site. I'll post it later on Stupid O'Clock too. But she lives right outside Kiev. And she's been posting about everything that's been going on in Ukraine as much as she can. She doesn't get out much because of the shelling and the shooting and everything else. But I emailed her, and she finally got back to my email. And so I was, and I told her, hey, I love what you're doing about the crane thing, but keep doing it, put more out. We need to hear more. We need to hear more of the sort of thing you're saying, and not the propaganda that
Really,
everybody's putting out.
eyewitness is always
Exactly.
better than official.
And so she got back to me and said, thank you for the email. And yeah, I'm staying put. I'm not telling anybody where I'm. And I'm not posting. She's not posting any videos from where she's at. She's posting other people's videos that she's pretty sure are legit videos. Yeah. But you know how that is. It's the internet. So, but she finally got back to me about that. Now I posted it. I've been posting it on my Facebook page about all of the things she keeps posting as often as she puts out a blog. I've been posting it. So just want everybody to know that that's been going on. And she got back to me. So
Well, that's great.
it
Hope
is.
she stays safe.
I am glad because she was, from what I understand, I don't know exactly where she's at, but from what I understand, she's in one of those areas that's been getting a lot of attention the last 3 weeks. So I'm glad she's made it this far. So.
Yeah.
Apparently, they're fairly well organized where she's at, and she lives in this middle class neighborhood, and it's a walled in neighborhood. So that's like you have to go through the gates to get into it. And apparently, they've got a bunch of old Ukrainian army veterans watching their neighborhood at night with night vision equipment.
Ooh.
And in the woods nearby where she lives, they've been watching Russians move around the woods, but it's not anything organized. It's basically Russian deserters trying to get away from the Russian army, and they're looking for food or shelter or whatever stuff to steal. And she posted a video today about they killed some guy and they were going through his pockets and they found a bunch of wedding rings in his pockets. Apparently, he's been looting wedding rings off of people.
Well, good thing they got him.
They should have got him sooner. That's all I'm going to say.
Yep. Oh,
I think we need to send, as soon as Ukraine gets done kicking Russia out of their country, we need to send them a bunch of those new anti-ship missiles that the Marine Corps has been playing around with and let them give the Black Sea Fleet a little hell. So that's me personally. But
some shore-mounted rail guns wouldn't be a lick amiss.
Well, shoot.
So, John, what's the growler things that they've been sending in?
Growler?
Yeah.
Oh! That is a Navy electronic warfare aircraft. It can jam enemy communications, radar, and their electronic warfare equipment. Navy's been using it for years, but they've got a new version out, the D model, I think it's called, and it's supposed to be real sharp. It's
Well, we got some A-10s about to approach some retirement age.
you know, that is kind of funny because we've been talking about giving Ukraine a bunch of fighter jets. I say we donate a few of the older A-10s to them. So that's
Just give them about 4 container loads of ammo, not missiles or anything, just the front gun.
you know.
Yeah, but what are they going to do the next 30 minutes? Those things have quite a rate of fire.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's why
interesting thing about the A-10 is you can pretty much load anything in the arsenal on it.
Yeah.
Bombs, rockets, missiles. In the newer version, they can even put some of the precision stuff. So.
Oh, good, Michaela.
Yeah.
Oh, I just heard back from my publisher today. He has finally gotten home from all the conventions he's been going to, and he's giving the latest book a read himself before he turns it over to the editors. So, yay! And he's been wanting this book for 2 years now. So, feeling nervous and excited at the same time. I know it's not perfect. I know it will need further editing and hopefully some constructive critiques will help me improve the bits that are subpar. But I feel really accomplished that I finally got it into a good enough shape to just go, hey, I can't do anything else with it. I'm too close to it. I can't see the flaws anymore. It's mine. I need somebody that isn't me to read it. And I know I've had offers from other people, but I'm going, I've got a publisher. He's got editors. This is what they get paid to do.
Oh. Excuse me.
Oh, thank you, Donna.
I'm sorry. I'm talking to somebody right now. I'll get back with y'all.
Who is
Perot?
Yeah. Ross? I thought
No.
he passed on.
No. The detective from the Agatha Christie novels.
Oh, okay.
She just got finished reading the basically a locked room mystery that I wrote in the Spaceport Bar series.
Oh, okay.
And I tried my best. I pulled from the Thin Man movies. I pulled from Sherlock Holmes. I pulled from Poirot. I even pulled a little bit from Edgar Allan Poe. Not much, because that was not in the direction that this particular mystery was going. But basically, there was a murder in a confined space, and all the suspects had no way to escape. And someone who was not a detective had to go ahead and help the ship captain solve the crime. So, the new Death on the Nile.
Yeah.
The Peter Ustinov one, the old one, was pretty good.
Well, this has Wonder Woman and I think Captain America in it.
Yeah. Well, they when they do a new version of something, they kind of have a tendency to lose the period flavor just a little bit, because a lot of the new actors, they're good at what they do, but they're modern. They don't have the shall we say the exposure to some of the older materials, so that they get, even if the sets and the costumes and everything else are period, the actors are, through no fault of their own, not steeped in the classic material, shall we say.
Oh, and something just popped up in my head on the new episode of Picard.
Mm-hmm.
The new character that's coming in, the Watcher,
Mm-hmm.
replaced Gary Seven.
Oh, that's intriguing.
Yeah, and this character is going to have like a 4 or 5 episode arc in the thing.
Mm.
So it's not just a one and done with Gary Seven. But she replaced Gary Seven.
Okay. I can see how that
They
would
need to
work.
bring back Terry Garr. That's all I'm saying.
Terry Garr does not like her experience working on Star Trek. From my understanding, she does not want to discuss it. She does not want to go to conventions. Something happened during the time she was working on the one episode that put her off of the entire series, the entire franchise. So your guess is as good as mine. Don't know.
And Brent Spiner came back as Dr. Soonen, but a younger version, because they've gone back to 2024.
Right.
And okay. Thank you, Michaela.
Excuse me. But yeah, they're bringing in a lot of old. A lot of the classic Trek is coming into Picard.
Well, I wouldn't call Next Generation that much classic, but I guess it is now.
No, classic Trek.
Like
okay.
Gary Seven.
Gary
and,
Seven. The replacement.
Well, that is classic era, yeah.
And the new what's the Final Frontier or
yeah, the Final Frontier
is coming out.
Yeah,
so
it's the Captain Pike at Enterprise.
Pre-Kirk.
Pre-Kirk.
And then of course Pike gets hurt and Kirk takes over.
Yep, I remember the mythology.
Well,
one day I'll be able to see that. Just like now, I'm catching up on all the Marvel stuff that people were just oohing and awing over last year. And the Star Trek stuff. I did finish all
There's-
of Mandalorian that exists right now. I have not gone through Boba Fett yet. I'm going
Well-
through all the Marvel stuff at the moment.
Well, before the next season of Mandalorian kicks in, you've got to watch Boba Fett
Oh, I will. I will.
because they're
intertwined.
intertwined.
I understand. That's my plan. Right now, before I get into Boba Fett, I'm going to go through, and I've seen all of WandaVision, Loki, uh, finished Hawkeye just a few days ago. I'm about 3 episodes into Falcon and Winter Soldier. I've watched an episode or 2 of Inhumans, even though I have heard its reputation. I'm going to watch it anyway. I have not even looked at Moon Knight yet. I will later.
Moon.
I'm just going to get it in order,
Well, the first episode of Moon Knight is real slow.
So it needs development. Nobody except people who have actually read the comics knows who the character is. So the TV audience needs to be acquainted. Yes, so am I. I had the first 2 years of it.
It develops slow, but the last 2 minutes, it's like, that's what we guess. I sat here for an hour to watch.
Hmm. I was watching. I did watch the trailer, and I go, "Damn, that looks like the most recent Master in Doctor Who, the Saoirse Dewan, that kind of crazy,
Yeah.
but in a different direction." All right. Maybe I should save a little bit of jabber for my own damn show.
And we're only 19 minutes into this one.
I know. I need to shut up.
Okay, I'm going to throw this one up for all us Tennessee guys. Have you heard there's another wildfire that broke out near Gatlinburg, up near Pigeon Forge?
Oh,
area?
no, not again.
Yeah.
Yep.
The 130 is they've been called in.
And they have evacuated close to 1,000 homes.
Oh, Lord. What caused it this time?
They don't
Fire.
Yes, a fire started a fire. Was it a campfire? Was it somebody throwing cigarettes out the window while they drove down the highway?
They
What?
haven't said yet.
It's-
Give me a second. I'll look it up.
Well, I mean, we got in this area got a fire warning right before that rain hit last
Yep.
night.
Well, then the rain did some good.
Yeah, the humidity was super low.
and the winds were high. Yeah.
Humidity was low, winds were high, and we hadn't had rain in about a week and a half.
Let's see. You found this one. Let's see. I'm reading this from a news agency called Patch. Sevier County, Tennessee. Wildfire in East Tennessee has forced the evacuation of a large swath of Sevier County north and west of Gatlinburg as officials work to contain the blaze. Let's see.
Well,
Sorry about that. I'm having Wi-Fi issues over here.
Yeah. And Angie's going, the winds were beyond high. Yes, they were. Yes.
yep. They were even impressive this morning on my way to work, and that's after they'd blown away people's stuff over in Alabama and traveled through 3/4 of North Georgia to get to me.
Fortunately,
I'll be right back.
the rainstorm that moved through the area last
Yeah.
night helped put. They think they may have a handle on it now. So
Yeah. Well, that was a lot of dang rain.
what's here? Up there.
Yeah, we got over 2.5 inches of rain up here, and then 45-mile-an-hour wind gusts for the last 24, 36 hours.
We were having sustained 45-mile-an-hour winds. It was quite breezy. I asked Greg why he moved all the furniture on the deck to one side, and he said, I didn't. The wind did.
Yeah, we have, I think, tomorrow and Sunday are supposed to be the only 2 dry days, and for about the next 8 days. So, going to Chicago on Sunday. But first thing I'm going to do when I get up there is check that dang sump pump in the basement.
Yeah.
See if my handiwork is holding out. I can't believe this is the last show for the month.
Yeah, it is.
Hey,
I've got
Joe, I sent not this Joe, the other Joe Bachman. Hey Joe, I sent you a link to the show. I put it on your Facebook thing.
If he's still here.
Well, he said shoot me a link, and I did. I haven't heard back. So. All right.
So we kind of started talking a little bit about Chris Rock and Will Smith, and of course everybody's seen all the funny memes all week long, and I think that's what most people are paying attention to. Anything else, but I did not know until Laura told me about the YouTube video of actually Will Smith laughing at Chris Rock's joke about his wife.
Yeah.
Until Jada gave him the stink eye.
She gave him and it was like, you better do something about it. Of course, they say he's also PW'd by her, too.
Well, the woman cheated on him.
Yeah.
I mean, look at all the talk about Tupac Shakur. Then she dated one of their son's best friends who was like 21 or 22 years old. Something. I mean, that doesn't say a whole lot for Will Smith.
Well, is he out tapping?
I mean, I think if he needs well, I won't say that.
If he's out tapping the leg, that's fine and good. Me and Dan know quite a few people, probably John too, that are that way.
Sorry, I came in late to this discussion. Is this alternative lifestyles or?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, whatever floats your boat. I've been watching a lot of boat videos.
Michaela, I think.
I'm sorry, infidelity is infidelity, no matter how you look at it. But
you do it. Okay.
No, I've done it twice. So.
Hi, Joe.
Hey, Joe.
Go on, guys.
Hi.
Have you got a new camera, or everything's blurred in the background?
Yeah, I just did the blur in the background instead of a virtual background.
Oh, okay.
Is that available on StreamYard now?
Yep.
Well, hold on a minute. I'll be right back.
Now we got to check that stuff out.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, I have a green screen. That's green. Where do you see the blur? I don't see the blurry thing.
Well, I don't have a green screen, so gotcha. I don't have that button checked.
Okay.
Oh, let me do that.
I think you have to turn on.
Good God Almighty! That'll scare the shit out of anybody.
I've got a green screen.
There we go.
Oh, okay.
That's terrible. Well, now I can't see all that junk piled up behind you.
Exactly.
That's all right. We can't see it, but we know it's there.
I just have a few guests over for supper. So.
Well, one thing I like is my Battlestar Galactica sign still shines through.
I wonder how that's making it through the blur.
Well, it's reflective.
Ah.
Excuse me. Now that I talked about it.
Yeah, you just got your head in the way. No. The blurring effect moves as your body moves. So, yeah.
Let me do my owl impression. Okay.
So that's what the kids are calling an owl these days. Thought it was just somebody been dipping into your moonshine.
Oh, and Angie's had enough. She's out of here. Good night, Angie. Oh, so what's been going on, Joe?
Not much. Just another week of working from home for the most part and getting ready for the construction season.
Oh, let me ask you this: how much has asphalt gone up?
Honestly, I don't know because we're going to be on a well, actually, we don't even really have concrete on this one.
Hmm.
It's kind of an odd project I'm going to be on this year.
Last I heard, it's 120 a ton.
That wouldn't surprise me. This
Where's
last
the
month,
decimal point in that?
this last month when NDOT put out their bids for the month,
Yeah.
there was right around 60 or 70 contracts that went out statewide. 50% of those on the first day had amounts that were at or below the engineer's estimate. Of the 50% that weren't, maybe a quarter of those came in to where they were within the 15% threshold to get awarded, and the rest were just way out of whack. But they're not. NDOT's not accounting for the rising fuel costs and everything else yet.
Yeah. Well, see, I worked for the city of Chattanooga back in 2008. Before everything went south, I worked with, hauling the asphalt.
Mhm.
And, asphalt was $20 a ton.
Oh, okay.
When the oil went up, it went to $80 a ton. I'm hearing now $120 a ton.
And just for those of us who are not well informed, how much of a stretch of a 2-lane road would a ton cover?
A ton would fill probably a 10 by 10, 3 inches deep?
Sounds about right.
So not much.
No.
That's why I don't get excited when when with this infrastructure bill, them saying oh, each state's gonna get so many millions of dollars. It's like, okay, that covers 3 projects.
Yeah, really.
Exactly.
Like once you work around it, you kind of do the math in your head real quick and go, that paves about 10 miles for one project.
Yeah, that's a couple of driveways.
Yeah.
Big increase. Yeah, your average
should be going down now because Biden released a million barrels of
prices never go down.
60 days or something like that, 64 days.
Yeah, but it always takes longer for the price to go back down than it does to shoot up.
Yeah, I saw your, I think John showed the picture of your house and all that and your driveway. That's about 35 ton.
It's only about 30 feet.
Yeah.
So I would need 35 tons of asphalt to cover that concrete.
A ton of asphalt is not that much.
Mm.
Yeah.
A little single axle dump truck is 10 tons.
Okay.
Now that's if you were also going as deep as a normal road also.
Yeah.
Driveway, you're generally only going about 4 inches probably. 4 or 5 inches, whereas an actual road, you've got on a highway, you're going to have a base layer that's at least 6 inches deep, possibly an open grade layer, which is about 3 inches, your intermediate, which is 2.5, and your surface layer, which is 1.5 here in Indiana.
Yeah. Your fill, your binder, and then topping is what we call it.
Yep.
Back when Dad was alive, they had the basically a quarter-mile long driveway, paved, but not deeply.
Yeah.
And you can tell it's not much better than it was when it was just dirt and gravel 40 years ago. Now, after about 10 years of wear, and that's just half a dozen cars going up and down once a week, if that often. So, and the weather and whatnot. I imagine the creek is full of, shall we say, runoff.
Uh-oh, still got to connect. There we go.
Yeah, Bill, you got to convince your neighbor to get a better Wi-Fi.
He needs a new router.
Yeah.
Or he needs to move it closer to your side of the house.
Hoist high the Jolly Roger, my friend. Oh. Well, thankfully my driveway, as short as it is concrete. And even though it's oh God, how many years? 50 or 60 years old now. It's still in pretty good shape.
Well, concrete's supposed to have, what, a 100-year life?
Well, yeah.
get
Try driving
that
some
out.
big trucks on a ordinary residential concrete pad and see what happens to it.
There goes Bill again.
We had a kid come off the road, and his truck went up a guy wire to our power pole.
Oh.
Broke the power pole, exploded the transformer. Electric company came out with like 7 trucks and a supervisor in a pickup, and they drove across the concrete pad of my right at the pavement of my driveway, and cracked it in about 5 or 6 different places. Put huge deep truck tire ruts in the yard, which they didn't bother to do anything with. But they took out a 8 by 12 foot swath of the concrete pad up next to the road and replaced it for free because their trucks broke the concrete.
Yeah, well, they're supposed to.
Yeah, well, I mean, they charged the kid that had the accident with the power pole, the transformer, the concrete,
Yep.
the overtime for 5 trucks and a supervisor.
Oh yeah, that kid's insurance loved him.
Oh yeah, I feel sorry for him because he was not intoxicated. He just spilled his drink. And
That's code for dropped his phone.
Nope. Didn't have a cell phone. He actually spilled his Coca-Cola all over the car, and while he was trying to not spill it, right up the guy wire for the power pole. So he had to replace or rebuild his truck and pay for all the damages to the electric company's equipment, and pay for what the electric company replaced on my property for free to me. So
I think a telephone pole's like $2,500 now. Just the pole.
Just the pole, yeah. And this is not one of the short ones either. This one's a little bit taller than normal, but not much. But the transformer, I know those things are expensive.
We had a couple years ago, I was on a bridge project in downtown LaPorte, Indiana, and we had 3 signs up. All 3 signs stated no right turns for semis to northbound US 35. One was an electronic message board. One was the orange construction. The other was a white on black, which makes it police enforceable.
Ooh.
All within a block and a half of each other. And still had truckers do it. It'd screw up traffic for a while, but they'd eventually make the turn. One guy didn't. Took down, it was a Friday afternoon. My boss and I had just gotten back from lunch and sat down to do paperwork, and here comes the superintendent just running up the steps of the trailer. It's like, the hell's going on? Flings the door open and goes, somebody just took out traffic pole. Oh, son of a bitch. All right, go walking out there. He caught it to where when it finally broke loose, it fell down in between the cab and the trailer.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
Perfectly.
Yeah. Luckily, one of our subcontractors was out there that does a lot of the electrical work and does a lot of signal work for NDOT. Called them real quick, said, hey, bring your equipment up top, boys. We need to need to get this moved. And he ended up paying for the new pole, the foundation for the pole, the sidewalk and curb ramp that was already cracked from all the other drivers going across it that, we could never stop, and the drainage casting for the sewer system that had sunk in from all the semis driving over it.
Lucky him.
Yeah,
Sarcastically.
I think the total for that bill came out to about $75,000.
That's close.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm being paged. I'll be right back.
Uh-oh. Oh yeah, some of the fun horror stories of road construction.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna see a lot of it this year on 94 because I'll be on night shift. I'll be working midnights.
That's something Tennessee's finally learned how to do is night construction.
Sort of.
Sort of.
Ours is actually going to be a 24-hour a day operation.
There's Bill. But yeah, it's some of the you don't realize how stupid people are until you get them in a construction zone.
Oh yeah.
You know that bridge that somebody hit with a piece of construction equipment that collapsed? Part of it fell off, killed that guy or whatever.
Oh, messed him up. Yeah, they were 75 and 24. Yeah, that made national news.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm apparently somebody had a backhoe on the back of a flatbed truck and didn't bother to put the arm on the backhoe down. Oh my God. And was coming up underneath there and smacked this bridge, concrete bridge, with part of the backhoe.
Yeah.
And kept going.
And kept going, and just either didn't notice or what.
No, he knew. Trust me.
Yeah,
he knew.
I'm pretty sure he knew too. But
yeah.
But it didn't collapse. It didn't collapse until a big heavy truck crossed over on the top side.
Mm-hmm.
And as it was crossing over, somebody was going underneath, and it dropped basically the guardrail, concrete guardrail, off the side of the bridge onto this guy's car.
Oh.
So he's traveling through there about 50 miles an hour. And
Hey, Zach. Yeah. The thing is, they didn't. Less than a year later, the bridge was completely gone and the road rerouted.
Mm-hmm.
They had to, it was the area was, contracted to be done, but when the bridge collapsed, they just
accelerated it.
They just moved it up the list, and then just a few months later, coming down 24 at Moore Road, headed to 75, another idiot did the same thing with the track hoe.
Mm.
And they ain't even fixed that because that bridge is scheduled to be replaced starting this summer. All right, let's try to bring Bill back in.
Who's got the duct tape?
Zach, I'm headed to Discord right now.
What?
I'm dropping Zach a link.
Oh.
Hmm.
Oh. I got to remember to get Zach on Discord.
You know, I still haven't used that thing since the virtual LibertyCon.
It's
I
actually
finally
kinda
figured
fun.
out how to turn it off so it doesn't automatically come up full screen as soon as I start this computer.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, there's a picture of it.
Ooh.
Ooh.
And there's the little blue car got hit.
He played it. He never hit the brakes.
Yeah.
Mm.
It dropped right in front of him, and he plowed.
Where's this at, Joe?
75 and 24. That does not exist anymore. That
Yeah,
entire
they changed that whole thing now.
and they did it in under a year and a half,
Something like that.
Mm.
a full interchange replacement.
Hmm.
And for this area of the country, that's quick.
That miraculous. I mean, Jesus couldn't have done it any faster.
Of course, he's
Don't
still,
stand near John. He's about to get hit by lightning.
Hey, trust me. Every time somebody drove through there, they called Jesus' name, so he's used to hearing about all them complaints.
Yeah.
He knows exactly.
Well,
what I'm
Carl and Donna and Sarah will probably know about this, but they're working on the Interstate 7457 interchange, which is something that they've been needing to do for a long time because of basically it's the exit from 74 going on to 57 north, which is the same route we take to go to Chicago. The curve is so sharp that trucks slide off of it all the time. They wreck consistently. So now they're finally changing it, and it's going to be down for about 3 years before they get it.
where that bridge was,
And my Wi-Fi is still glitchy.
it's not there anymore.
Yeah, that's
Oh wow.
That's the new bridge.
Okay. Looks pretty.
One with the MSC wall instead of the slope wall.
and that bridge is now 24.
Yeah, they changed the whole thing. That's going. Yeah, that's going toward Knoxville.
Yeah, that's
Hey, Knoxville. Shout
That's
out.
coming from Knoxville.
Yeah.
Here we are.
The
going
road
toward
from Knoxville. They
Nashville,
put a concrete wall in front of it. Don't let anybody from Knoxville
and
come
that's going to
Chattanooga.
Georgia.
Yeah.
And let's see.
That's going to a convention right there.
Yeah, that's not
recognize
going
that
anywhere
trailer.
right now. So.
Mhm.
I recognize that trailer too. I'm trying to fit. Oh, they're going to Bristol. They went the wrong lane.
Oh,
Yeah, they're up there for the Bristol dirt race.
well, they are in the breakdown lane, ain't they?
Yep.
Well,
And once they get 24 to the ridge cut done, that'll become another lane
In theory.
in theory.
yeah. Theory's great. They've got something going on at the little town, the county seat here nearby. They have cut down like about 2 football fields worth of old growth timber, and it looks like they're going to put in some buildings in this little area, but it's a floodplain. I wouldn't buy property there if you paid me. So I don't know what the hell's going on, but they have been working on it for about a year now. I mean, it looks dramatically different, and even if they just stopped where they were and just kept it bush hogged, it would improve the that little stretch of the road, just being able to see a little bit better, and as you cross the bridge over a teeny tiny river about 20 yards wide and about 2 foot, 3 foot deep.
Joe, there's you a good question.
Oh, why do some states have pretty walls and overpasses and other states are just boring concrete? So, at least here in Indiana, the pretty stuff is generally due to LPAs, local public agencies, which are your cities and towns. For instance, on I-94 here in Indiana over by Michigan City, the city paid extra to have this beautiful little wave design in Michigan City and everything showing up on the wall, which cost a substantial amount of money and a lot of headache for the contractor because he had to figure out how to actually form all that.
Yeah.
Well, the state of Tennessee now puts the state emblem on the abutments,
Mhm.
and it casts that into the concrete. And the only way you can tell if extra money was spent is if it's just in the concrete, it was low budget. If it's painted, they paid extra.
Okay. I'll accept that, but it sounds backwards logic.
What?
Actually have it formed in the concrete? I would, as a layman, I would
The
expect
ones that are
to be-
painted is formed into the concrete too. It's just been
painted as well. Okay.
Yeah,
state colors.
a lot. We don't get very much of that up here. There's a lot of it down in Indy, especially around I want to say Carmel, Indiana.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
There's the state emblem that's painted, and there's the pretty wall. And that's going up to Ridge Cut.
Yeah,
There's another state emblem, more pretty
Okay.
wall.
I see what you're calling pretty now. It makes it look like it's actually separate pieces instead of one big concrete slab. Oh.
precast.
Guess which one is easier to inspect?
The ones that ain't cracked.
The ones that ain't pretty.
Yeah.
Straight concrete, you look at it, it's got a crack in it, that's something that needs to be fixed. You look at that wavy stuff, it's got cracks in it, you're not sure if it's a crack or not.
Yeah, really.
So you got to bring in, $150,000 worth of x-ray equipment.
When my neighbor built his garage next door, the guy pouring the concrete was his father-in-law. And he says, "What kind of guarantee can you give me on this concrete?" And he said, "I guarantee it's going to crack."
Poured it too thin?
No, he says, "If you have a garage floor, and if it don't crack in the first 20 years, you did something wrong."
Okay.
Because when it does crack, it's going to be bad.
I'm going to attempt to do something that I haven't done on here before. Oh, okay. So that's how you do that.
Are you going to do the share?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's several extra steps more than it needs to be, but that's the way it is. There
So
you go.
this is down here in Carmel, Indiana. And
I see
this
the
is
pretty.
Yeah, this is along Keystone Parkway, which I believe is part of US 31 still. But they actually go through and add in the town emblem here. You got all this that was formed, and yeah. Basically a contractor's worst nightmare. And it is like this at every bridge going into Carmel.
It's pretty, but
Mine was worst nightmare, but I bet they were able to charge a little extra.
Oh yeah, I'd hate to know what the bill was for that.
oh yeah,
And the stuff here on the wall wouldn't be so bad. This is a lot of times your walls are precast. You order them that way.
Yeah.
So it's the manufacturer's headache. But like the stuff up here, up along the top.
Yep.
That's not precast. That was
That's
all
custom
poured.
work when it was poured, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, I see the seams in the precast. Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. Now, how do I do that? Okay, there we go.
Oh,
That's why I like the stuff like that back. Oh wow, I just about said back home up in East Tennessee. On your way to Kentucky, uh, your all that pretty artwork like that is basically just the uh, the limestone that has been drilled through and blasted, and you can actually just see where they drilled through.
yeah, you
It's
see
just
before.
rock. they don't even they don't even try and make it into a pattern or anything.
It's just
They just
drill
try and
marks.
make it not.
It's just the drill marks and little blast holes at the bottom of
Uh-huh.
it.
They just try and make sure that when it does crack and fall on the road, it falls kind of over in the slow lane where nobody actually goes unless you're stuck there because the traffic won't let you over in the fast lane.
Do this one more time here, real quick.
Well, I noticed something on that picture, Joe. There was no divider to get, you know.
Just grass.
Yeah.
There
Yeah,
wasn't a wall in the middle. Yeah.
Yep. Now this is I-94 heading into Michigan City,
yeah.
and all of that had to be formed
Oh, my.
in that whole wave, and then the Michigan City. Yeah.
Oh, that's formed.
Yeah,
The
that costs
letters are formed,
Letters are formed too.
and you got to reverse form it. So,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
that's
And it's like this on both sides of the bridge.
Mm-hmm. Well, somebody got some overtime.
Oh yeah.
yeah. Don't let anybody see that down here in Tennessee, especially Chattanooga. Good God,
Hey, only Dolly Parton can afford that in Tennessee.
I ain't kidding there.
The government can't afford it. Only Dolly's got that kind of money.
We're actually thinking of going to Dollywood this year. Dollywood this year.
My sister and brother-in-law and my niece have made it a habit to go several times a year. They really enjoy it. It's highly recommended.
I mean, I remember when it
Remember
was
what it used?
Silver Dollar City. That's where I was going.
I remember. We finally found a route that didn't take us through Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, and Silver Dollar City, Severe, all that. Found a way around it, and it cut 2 hours, well, 3 hours off the travel time. Not because the road was shorter, but because there was not stop and go traffic for 20 miles.
Operaland, USA. I think the last year we went there, it was so incredibly humid and stifling hot. I know me and my brother didn't want to leave the swimming pool the whole time. We didn't give a rat's you know what about Operaland, USA.
I think I've been there one time. It was a field trip from work, and we were going up there to watch installers put our insulation in somebody's newly constructed house. And on the way back, we got to go into there and spend the night. And basically, for the little teeny tiny bit that I saw, it was a great big mall. It's like take a shopping mall and turn it into a theme park on the inside. It was beautiful. It was beautiful, and the hotel was really nice. And company paid for everything. I didn't have to spend a dime. But like I said, I just got to see a little bit of it. But it seemed to go on for, I don't know, miles and miles and miles.
Oh, I had to park my TomTom because of that place. I had to start using my phone GPS
Mm-hmm.
because my TomTom. I went to a Walmart we were doing a convention in Nashville. Needed to run to Walmart. It took me to Titan Stadium.
That's not a Walmart.
Was
Oh, it was.
Oh, wasn't updated.
Yeah, it does pay to update. As a matter of fact, I've got to update mine here before LibertyCon, and I've got to go back in and fix. I've got to go back in and fix my route map so that I use the somewhat better back roads than the original ones I was using. Because I've gotten in the habit of avoiding Atlanta at all costs now.
that must be the general.
That's General Jackson.
Paddle wheeler, isn't it?
Yeah.
Side wheeler or stern wheeler?
Stern Wheeler.
Okay.
Good night, Donna.
Have a good night, Donna.
Good night.
Good night.
And good night, Carl.
And
See
Carl.
you tomorrow.
Yeah, I still got one more day of work this week.
Yeah, it's a shop. It's so sad that Opryland is a shopping mall now.
Mm. Yeah, the day we were coming back from that was the day of the Rodney King riots in California.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that dates that field trip.
Yeah. Would you believe that's been 30 years ago, Dan?
Yeah, I would. It's been at least that long since they last let me talk to management.
Yeah.
I don't get invited to meetings with management anymore.
The reason
I have this bad habit of telling the truth.
the reason I remember is they were doing the big grand opening festival around the aquarium,
Yeah.
and they had to curtail some of the events and shorten the time to get people home and off the streets.
Yeah, we were a bit nervous coming back. Had to go through Atlanta, and thankfully
They were behaving.
thankfully the protests did not. It didn't seem to occur to them to be standing in the middle of 285. So yeah. It was a nervous.
I'm trying to figure out exactly how stupid you got to be to stand in the middle of 285.
Almost as stupid as you got to be to drive on it in the first place.
That road scares me just traveling down it. I ain't about to stand in the middle of it.
Well,
That's why I take back roads now and don't even go all the way to Atlanta.
I've seen
I'll go to some 2-lane
I've
highway
seen
that
pinball machines that change lanes more accurately. Okay.
yeah.
hey, Joe, one thing you got to understand when we're talking about Atlanta and 285, there are 3 things guaranteed in this world: death, taxes, and road construction on 285.
Oh,
There's
I would guarantee somebody making at least a 5-lane change from the absolute fastest lane over to the off ramp without a signal in rush hour traffic.
285 is the loop around Atlanta, and I think, if I remember correctly, there's 6 interstates and highways that interconnect into it.
At least
Well, there's 3 majors.
75, 85, and
20. Yeah. But there's 6 ways to approach Atlanta on interstate.
And all of them require caution and probably some forethought and planning.
And the running joke is the speed limit is the highways,
The highway numbers.
the highway number.
Yeah, that's why 285 is really dangerous, because people think that's the speed limit.
Yeah, the section of 94 that I'm going to be on this year, it's from Illinois state line to about 5.5 miles in. But I know exactly what you're talking about when you're saying, someone changing across 4 lanes of traffic, 4 or 5 lanes of traffic without using a signal. I could not tell you how many times I saw that heading home last year from our project on 94 at the I-65 interchange, where someone's just doing 75 and the 55 down the fast lane, and then all of a sudden just right on over.
Lindsay thinks I'm psychic because I can watch the traffic that we're in, and I'll point out a car and go, "Look, he's about to do something really stupid."
Mm-hmm.
Within 5 minutes, yep, all the way across the traffic, all the way across 4 lanes to the off ramp, no signal, don't slow down. As far as I know, the car does not have mirrors. I mean, it's a Lamborghini or whatever.
In Atlanta, the more expensive the car, the more apt they are to do something like that.
Exactly.
Of course, that wreck I had going down to Fritz's in Huntsville.
Yeah.
I watched that car from probably South Pittsburgh. From South Pittsburgh, Bridgeport area, all the way to Scottsboro. Of course, we play what I call do-si-do. I'd pass her, she'd pass me. I'd pass her, she'd pass me. But, I'd always give her plenty of room. This is the way she was normally driving. She gets over into the left-hand turn lane in Scottsboro. The only red light on this fucking road anywhere. 55-mile-an-hour speed limit, and they got a red light on it.
Yeah.
She's sitting in traffic, lights green. I'm going, good. I'm going to get past her. And when I'm seriously not 50 feet away from her, she pulls back out into the road. Never hit the brakes.
Yeah.
You guys need to drive up in Chicago because
why? I don't have that much ammo.
This is every day. The scene in the scene in the Batman where Batman's chasing Cobblepot through all that traffic and he flips upside down. That's every day in Chicago. We were coming back the last time and some kid was doing a burnout. He lost control, did a Burt Reynolds turnaround right in the middle of 80. And then, so he gets embarrassed and he takes off, but the idiot is going the wrong way on a 6-lane highway.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just looking in the rearview mirror thinking, okay, when is the accident going to happen? Because he's going 75, 80 miles an hour.
2. There it is.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and to think back in the late 70s, early 80s, I thought absolutely nothing about going to Atlanta on my motorcycle and going through 285. Like it was a cakewalk. It has gotten progressively worse every year ever since. And it's not that it was so fantastic everybody was responsible back then. It's just that there's that many more people.
Dan, there's 2 things to that. There's that many more people, and you've got older and wiser, and realized you're not as bulletproof.
That's one of those. Was I really that stupid? I was
pretty paranoid.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, when we're leaving and we're jumping from 83 on the 45 till we get to 80, it's just a short little run. But that first turn on there is supposed to be 45 mile an hour. Now, I guarantee you everybody's doing about 80, 75 to 80 miles an hour. If you are going the speed limit, you're in serious trouble because you're going to cause an accident. You have to keep up with the people.
You're going to
And
become a roadway statistic at that point.
well, I know we were going up to the car show up in Chicago one spring. It was with Mom and Dad. Dad was driving out on LSD, and he got pulled over by a cop.
I've never been
And the
brave
cop-
enough to do that.
Well, the cop pulled him over because everybody else on LSD was doing 75, 80 miles an hour. Dad was doing the 55-mile-an-hour speed limit. And the cop told him, he said, you got to keep up with the rest of the traffic, or you're going to have to get on some other way to get up here other than this route. This is, he said, he goes, I know you probably never expect, CPD telling you to
Speed up.
speed, but he said you have to do it to keep from causing accidents. I mean, people will come up behind you like you're standing still.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Germany's Autobahns are like that. If somebody comes behind you,
Mhm.
flash their lights, and you don't get out of the way, and the cop sees it, he'll pull you over, write you a ticket for going too slow, obstructing
Yep.
traffic.
Mm-hmm. I see it every day on my way to work in the mornings. I don't see it that much in the afternoons, but I see it every day in the mornings. It's a 55-mile-an-hour road. I'm doing 60. People are passing me like I am parked.
Mm-hmm.
And this ain't even Atlanta. This is Athens. It's not even a 6-lane. It's a 4-lane.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going, well, y'all should have left the house earlier. I'm still going to be at work on time. As long as you don't hit me, I'll stay over here. Y'all stay over there. Pew, pew, pew. Just let me make my left turn when I need to make my left turn. That's all I'm worried about.
That's the way I-80, I-94 is up here in Lake County. If you're in the left lane and you're doing below 75, you're going to impede traffic.
Mm-hmm.
And I pulled up, so I was kind of interested to see what the traffic counts were for the section I'm working in. This was 2014's traffic counts. Annual average daily traffic for the first, probably about mile and a half of my project, 189,000 vehicles a day.
That's a bunch of vehicles.
Yeah. By the end of my project, it drops down to about 170,000.
Oh, yeah, that's a big drop. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. 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 Knocked 19,000 vehicles off. Now, like I said, that was 2014. So.
Yep.
That's where you
Right.
narrow it down to one lane to slow their asses down.
Oh, just setting up construction barrels screws up traffic on that road.
Sometimes you wish they'd never stop making it a dirt road.
Right?
Mm-hmm. A washboard dirt road. Every square foot is a speed bump. So
Yeah, this year we're only allowed actually, and it's not even a state regulation. It's actually federal highway. We're only allowed to close one lane at night, and we have to maintain during specific hours. We have to maintain 4 lanes of open traffic through this area. So when we're doing these construction projects, we end up with vehicles on both sides of us going
you
around.
work on the middle one, yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Which is such a joy to try and get back in the traffic.
Yes. And it's so soothing too, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Thank God for a V8 truck.
Mm-hmm. Well, I made that smart-ass remark about dirt roads, and then I remember what we used to do on dirt roads when I was a teenager. You wouldn't believe a pickup truck to do 75 miles an hour. A straight 6 pickup would do 70 miles an hour on a washboard dirt road.
Oh yeah.
Yo,
That-
yeah.
I grew up out in the country. I know.
And at that point, you're only hitting high spots.
At that point, I'm only hitting the high spots about every 10, 15 yards.
Yep.
It's like the DeLorean at 88 miles an hour.
Dan was playing Carl Malden and Mike Douglas on the streets of San Francisco.
Ooh, well, that was popular in the day, but it was more like
Bullet.
Steve McQueen and Bullet. Thank you. That's exactly what I was thinking
Yeah.
of.
I think that was filmed in the same location, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Mm,
Oh,
could
did
be.
y'all hear about the Steve McQueen tour in San Francisco? Takes you down the roads of all the chases on Bullet.
Never heard of it, but
Yeah,
do tell.
yeah. They say it only takes about 5 minutes.
I can imagine so. You will believe a bus can fly. I know it's not Egg Shin's tourist bus. So. That 6-demon bag doesn't include levitation of vehicles. Okay, not Big Trouble in Little China fans. Okay, tough for him. Tough for him.
Been too long since I saw that movie. I did watch it though.
I think I've only ever caught bits and pieces, to be honest.
It's
Thinking
one of
about
it's
that
one of my
earlier today because of the Pork Chop Express.
it's one of my favorite movies of all time. That Buckaroo Banzai, the original black and white version of The Thing from the 50s.
Now wait a minute, you didn't like the Kurt Russell version of the thing?
Yeah, I did, but I like the original much more.
Because the part where the guy's head comes off, grows legs and eyes, and starts walking out the door, and they all turn around and stare at it and go, "You gotta be fucking kidding me!" That hits it with the flamethrower.
Yeah, I said I like it. Yeah, but I like the original version has
Mushrooms.
no. It's the way people talk over each other, crosstalk they call it. It's exactly like real life. You got 8 people in the room. You got 3 different conversations, and nobody's shutting up to let anybody else take a turn.
Oh, like this show.
Yeah, really. Just constant jabber over top of somebody else that's already talking. And if you can keep track of
Anyway, John, what I was telling you. Oh,
it. Exactly. But I shut up and let you talk.
yeah, Dan, you're not playing by the rules.
I never played by the rules. Well, I do play by the rules. The trouble is, I'm the one that broke the ones I play by. So, and I don't hand out copies to anybody else.
You're going to pay for that ruler too.
I already have many times. many times. Oh.
I remember when I came up here, we went to Catholic grade schools and high schools. So whenever you mention ruler, we go like that.
Yeah.
Just out of reaction.
I'm right-handed now because of that. Second
Those
grade
nuns.
teacher didn't allow a left-handed person, so I had to learn it. I had to learn not to be left-handed, which is probably why I stutter now.
Yeah, those nuns could wield a ruler like a ninja with a
Mhm.
katana.
It's nothing like
Yeah,
a,
they can't do that anymore.
it's nothing like a Southern grandma with a flip-flop at 100 yards. And it returns like a boomerang. She catches it after she smacks you upside the head with it.
And the dang thing is, she can hit you from around the corner.
Mhm.
Around the block.
There's a reason why Southern kids zigzag when they run.
Really? You think spy satellites are spooky? Grandmas are spooky.
Hey, there's a reason Bear Bryant always had country boys as linemen.
Uh-huh. And I never knew why Dale Earnhardt was such a good driver until I actually went through the county he grew up in. If you can drive on those roads, hey, I don't care. You good.
Well, the thing is, they say he could see the air coming off the cars. They say he could see the air moving coming off the cars.
Well, I don't know what they say, but I have been on the roads that he was a teenager growing up learning how to drive on. And those would be a fun challenge to somebody on a motorcycle, much less in a car.
Oh, yeah. Now, here's another thing about when you was racing with Dale Earnhardt. He only bumped you from behind twice. Third time he put your ass in the wall.
There's a cruel joke that I'm thinking of now, an Earnhardt joke, but I'm thinking, man, it's probably still too soon.
It is, and Pink Floyd is just not good, okay?
Yeah.
Oh. I didn't like Dale Earnhardt till the day I met him. He signed my son's Mark Martin Valvoline jacket, Ford Valvoline jacket. Dale Earnhardt was GM, which used Delco oil, and he signed Mark Martin's jacket, and then we went, and I got to meet Mark Martin later on, and I had him sign the jacket too. He looked at it and he went, "Holy shit!" That's exactly what he said. He looked down at it and went, "Holy shit! I don't want to ruin the value of it." He knew what. He goes, "How did you get this?" He said, "I told him. I said, my son. He was about 8 at the time." He said, "No, you don't need to say anything else." And he went ahead and signed it. They said he would sign anything for a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Lord, we still got 40 minutes to kill, guys. My back started to give me a fit too.
Yeah, I just haven't been into NASCAR since Petty retired, and it just I don't know. It's not quite the same, and believe me, I've tried with a lot of different drivers.
Yeah, well, this new car they've got out now, the big superstar names can't handle it.
Really?
They have had 6 different winners this year. Only 3 were with the same team. The other 3 were B teams.
Wow.
That's how good the car is this year. Or how equal the car is. And then Brad Keselowski's team got docked 100 points, $100,000, and 10 10 playoff points for tampering with a single source part. And they won't tell him what that part was.
That's like going to Facebook jail. They won't tell you what you did.
Yeah. You screwed up. We're going to fine you, but we're not going to tell you why. It's like dealing with the IRS.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. I had an all-time high today. I went against the terms of the agreement, or however they refer to it. I had 28 of them against me today.
What did you do?
I don't know. I don't care, and I'll probably do it again. I just ignore it like I do all the rest of them. I think we were in there in the green room one night, and we were talking about it, and And Carl asked me, he said, well, what did you fight it or whatever? And Brian was in there that night, and he says, well, you need to fight it. And I said, no. I said, if I respond to it, I think that's when they can do something to me. And so far, I haven't responded to any of them in the last 2.5 years.
My mom just had a 24-hour stint in the Facebook jail. Someone had mentioned something about Vicks Vapor Rub. And somehow they got on the topic of Ben Gay. And my mom had typed in Ben Gay. And that triggered their algorithm.
The algorithm said no, but I'm going to put you in Facebook jail for asking me if I was.
Right?
Okay, so now we know what not to post up in the Uncle Carl's Secret Humor group.
You're already planning it, aren't you?
I'm on it. Carl's always asking for original posts by me, so.
Hey,
Yeah.
Dan, you
The
know
show
what
is brought
tomorrow
to you
is?
by Ben Gay.
Dan, do you know what tomorrow is, don't you?
Yeah.
It's
Friday.
my favorite day of the year.
The day that I don't read anybody's Facebook posts for ever. All right, Michaela.
Nice.
Go ahead, Michaela. I'll tell you right now, when you're 103 words to go, that's when you introduce a character that stutters.
I was going to say, just write the same word over and over and over and over.
I did that. Somebody actually counted how many times they cursed and complained.
That's how I used to write my book reports when I was in grade school. It was very, 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 very cold winter, and I really, 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 really hated it.
Hey, if you want to get your teacher to just stop reading your book report and go on to something else, start off your book report with, "It was a dark and stormy night."
I've been tempted to use that just as an opening line, just to see if I could go ahead and make it into something that people could not put down after that opening.
Dan,
It worked for Snoopy.
Dan,
Oh, yeah.
Dan, you should start it. It was a bright and sunny day.
It was a dark and stormy night.
Suddenly,
But it cleared up in the morning. So.
Suddenly, a pirate ship came over the horizon. All right, there she goes. She's broke 39,000. Now she's working
She
on
wrote
40.
103 words in 2 minutes while typing to us. I'm impressed.
Michaela, you misspelled that last word.
While listening to us. I mean, how can anybody concentrate on their own, what's
listening
going through their
one
own
thing,
mind
you know,
when they're when
Let's
Oh,
face it,
yeah.
I can listen to us ignore everybody. So, but typing at the same time, is a little bit,
Like she's listening to us, for crying out loud. We're white noise.
I'm gonna say, should we also start doing a low hum?
Or to be politically correct, we're Caucasian noise.
There you go.
Okay, read my mind. I was not going to say it. It ain't the green room.
The 60 cycle.
That's what I'm here for. I will actually at night sometimes when my mind will not shut off, and because it usually is shut off all day long, so it's going to be on all night long when I'm trying to sleep, and I'll turn on YouTube and old radio shows, something from WGN where they were talking about whatever for 3 hours, and I'll just play that, not to where the audio is loud enough for me to understand what they're saying, but
It's
just
noise.
loud enough for me to hear it.
Yeah.
And that's white noise to me, and I'll go right afterwards.
It's
Sawmill videos.
It's called ambient, where something is just loud enough for you to perceive, but not loud enough for you to comprehend.
Yeah. Saw
And
me videos. I like those. Of course, I did mess up one night and do the 10 hours of a rainstorm and dreamed I was having to fight the rain to try to keep all my computer equipment dry and my sound equipment dry. So I'm not doing that no more.
The best ones are multiple hours of waves on a beach.
No,
one.
No storms. They're just the waves coming in.
well, Dan. The problem with that, instead of my 4:30 session, it's about 2 o'clock and 3:30.
I
Plus
bought
the
one.
4:30.
I bought one a while back. I bought a CD that was Pachelbel's Canon,
Hey Dan, how you doing?
but it was that ambient noise. It had rain in the background.
Mhm.
And it was one of those things you play it when you try to go to sleep at night. I bought that because I was having trouble sleeping.
Brian Eno's is a really, really good ambient version of that.
Well, I know something else that really helps you go to sleep. Ever
And
heard
you
of Everclear?
can't talk about that here.
Ever heard about Everclear? Ever heard Everclear before?
Oh, that wasn't where I thought you were going.
But Benadryl with a Jack Chaser.
Dimetap nap. That's what I always used to tell my little sister when my niece was unruly as a kid.
Y'all ain't even in the ballpark. You ain't even in the parking lot outside the ballpark.
Well, that Chattanooga whiskey is pretty good. I will give you that.
No, it's not the caffeinated kind, Dan.
It's made with that good Tennessee River water, processed through the Tennessee American Water Company.
That means it was brown when it came out the tap.
Wow.
I lost a bottle of amaretto somewhere. I lost it to my wife.
If it's brown, flush it down.
Well, shit. Buy more amaretto.
Yeah, like that's a hardship. Yeah, I've got to buy Irish Mist. Oh no, I wish I hadn't thought of that. No, Dan, you got to go to work in the morning.
Too late now.
That
Hey,
reminds
just
me, I gotta buy
because I
Irish
thought
Spring.
of it, don't mean I got to do it.
Ooh, Dan, Dan Darden's talking about just sleeping it off until next week.
Yeah, really.
Come on. There we
That's
go.
nap time right there. Although back when I was in kindergarten, that probably wouldn't have been a lick of miss to get some of those kids to shut up for 30 minutes.
Yeah, can't do that no more. Damn it.
That's part of the reason why I
And if you
stopped
don't get
drinking.
caught,
Just no matter what I drank, it just made me tired, or did nothing at all.
If you're ever
Most-
just
wanting,
like life, it either makes me tired or doesn't do anything.
Yep.
if you're ever wanting a good sipping rum, this one's been. And of course, it's not going to show up with the blur, is it?
No,
No, it's going to blur it out. It's going to censor me.
just
I
go
just
ahead
see
and
a
read
gold
the label.
X.
Where'd it go? There we go. It's called Bamboo Rum.
Okay.
It's.
John's making notes.
I stopped in at a liquor store out here. Was wanting to sip on something different than amaretto one night, and he asked if I like rum. I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Get Bamboo." All right. I said, I asked where the Coke and stuff was. He's like, "No, you don't mix this one.
You just drank it.
Ice, glass, a little bit of rum. Sip on it." Okay.
It's not like that moonshine that I come up with. You don't.
You don't put it in nothing. You don't put nothing in it.
Mhm.
No.
The only thing you put it in is yourself.
Yep.
You don't even put it in a glass. You drink it straight from the jar.
And then I also have Carl's favorite, the Kraken. Found a nice little bottle of that. Nice little fancy bottle that I haven't cracked into yet. That must have been a holdover from the holidays. It was on clearance for $10.
Well, it won't go bad. That's the thing that gets me. People
Yeah.
buy this liquor and all that, and they open a crack it open, pour a little drink. They think they got to drink it all before it goes bad. I ain't never seen a whiskey go bad.
I don't believe that's the way my wife thinks. I think she thinks that she's got to drink it all before I get any.
Oh,
Yeah, well, that's going bad then, Dan.
Yeah, it definitely took a turn for the worst. She's got some. She has been the Canadian Mist, the cheap stuff that I've been buying for just whiskey sours and whatnot. She will take that and mix it with it's the same sort of cream that would wind up in a Bailey's Irish cream,
okay.
and she just mix the two in just a little teeny tiny glass and have that before bedtime, and knocks her right out. And she says it's the most relaxing sleep that she gets. I mean, she's not sitting there drinking all night. It's just, she'd be watching TV and have a shot, go to bed. That's it, lights out. And she's always in a good mood when she wakes up the next morning. So that's a good thing in my book. And it's a thick book. So.
I'll be right back. There's a car alarm going off.
Uh-oh.
I don't know if it's ours or across the street.
You're getting repoed, Joe. Quick.
God, I hope not. It's a company vehicle.
They're going to repo the company?
Oh
my God.
They want it back, Joe.
Hey, these days it can be gas
cam
theft,
here.
so, yeah, check it out.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, I read a good one today. Somebody was going on about how he's going to put sugar water in some gas cans in the back of the pickup truck. You posted that one? Well, I'm sorry I didn't notice your name on it. I saw the text and I go, oh, that's evil. I like it.
I had a friend, and Joe probably knows him, Scott Mitchell,
Yeah.
and his dad was a diesel mechanic from way back. So all the cars they had at their house were diesel. And
Sorry about that.
Bless you.
I couldn't even get to the mute button.
and he was a big fan of Isuzu diesels.
Uh-huh.
So he had an Isuzu diesel pickup truck.
Mm-hmm.
And they'd bought this thing. It'd been slightly wrecked. Not bad, just needed some body work, but they got it real cheap. And whoever had wrecked it couldn't get the diesel going. And it was some silly little diesel thing. It's one of those things that if you don't know anything about diesel, you're perplexed. If you know anything about diesel, it's you open this, let the water out for a few seconds, and then close it back kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know? And so they bought this thing, got it up and running. That was the truck that he took back and forth to high school at the time. Somebody came in, and because they had painted it from where the bodywork had been done, all the little emblems on it that said diesel were gone.
Okay.
You know, they normally have the little bracket things that say,
Mhm.
you know, Isuzu diesel. All that stuff was gone where they'd been painted. Somebody went in and siphoned off the fuel from his truck and said, and the next day they found the kid that had siphoned off the diesel fuel from his truck because he put it in his gasoline car. And had gotten, and the neighborhood we were living at the time had a really long hill. and then at the bottom of it, it came back up over another small hill before you got to the end of the subdivision. The car was sitting down there, and they could not figure out why the car had stopped.
So,
I had one of my old friends from college accidentally pumped her car gas tank full of diesel, and they could not figure out why, when she turned the key off, the engine kept running until the mechanic they took it to actually siphoned some off and tried to burn it off. And the mechanic was wise enough to know the difference between a flame from gasoline burning and a flame from diesel fuel burning. And if you know anything about diesel fuel, it's a little bit harder to set a light than gasoline.
Not impossible, but hard.
Not impossible, just a little bit harder.
Now, Joe may know what I'm talking about. Dealing with road construction, there's nothing like a metal 5-gallon bucket, half full of sand, and about a half a gallon of diesel poured down in it in the wintertime.
Oh,
haven't seen. Well, we don't do much construction in the winter up here, so
it's a nice little fire pit.
Yeah,
really.
And you
Yeah.
And when it's metal, of course you've got
the whole
metal lid.
can warms up.
Yeah, the whole can warms up. When you're ready to put it out, you just put the lid on top of it for a minute or two. It goes out.
Yeah.
Oh God, don't tell NDOT that. They'll tell the employees to put that in the trucks to replace the heaters when they're not working.
Well, another thing is, if the fire starts going down low, you just take a stick, stir the sand, flares right back up.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
It'll burn until the diesel fuel is entirely consumed, and you still have the same amount of sand because it don't get hot enough to melt the sand. Sand, you've got to get.
You got to get it hot.
That's one of the main ingredients in the insulation, fiberglass insulation we make. The gas melting furnace is 2,800 degrees. That's 1,000 degrees hotter than a crematorium.
Wow.
To make sand melt, you need to heat it to roughly 700 degrees Celsius or 3,090 degrees Fahrenheit.
I think Carl's got a cigar lighter that'll do that.
So, talking about diesels with vehicles with diesel, I had a Chevy Malibu, 2016 Chevy Malibu, and it was starting to have some engine issues. Check engine light came on. It said there was a misfire on one of the cylinders. So I'm like, okay, it's under warranty, but spark plugs are cheap. I'll just run down to AutoZone, buy one, replace it. And so I get to AutoZone, I give them the make and model and everything. This guy's trying to look it up, and I'm not seeing it in there. What do you mean you're not seeing it in there? It's a 2016 car. This is 2017. I would think you guys would have spark plugs. And he's looking. He runs the diagnostic reader, and he's like, well, according to this, you should change this first. And this other senior tech comes over and goes, oh, no. This guy's right. You start with the spark plugs before changing out, fuel injectors and all this other shit. So he's trying to look it up. He goes, oh, well, here's the problem. It's a diesel. I said, excuse me? He goes, well, yeah, your Malibu's a diesel. I don't think they've made a 2016 Malibu that's diesel here in the U.S. And I will be the first to admit, I am a computer nerd. I do not know shit about vehicles. I'm surprised people let me put my own fuel in the vehicle half the time. I know well enough from working for the state that if you put unleaded into a diesel vehicle, you will make it 100 feet from the pump before it dies.
Yeah, because diesels don't have spark plugs.
Right.
diesel fuel burns by compression.
Yeah.
The only thing that you have is called a glow plug, which when you first start it, it heats up just a little,
Mhm.
just enough to where when the compression cycle starts, the diesel fires up. Basically,
Yeah.
it's a hot pad for the fuel that's being injected. Just warms it up enough to where it'll go boom
Yeah.
when you compress it.
So did you ever find spark plugs for it?
Well, he goes, well, there's a coil pack we can order. It's $110. I said, yeah. I said, you know what? I said, I'll have to go get money from the bank. I'll be back in a little bit. Turned around, walked out, drove the car to the dealership at that point,
Yeah.
which is a good thing I did because it ended up having a hole in the engine. The piston was wearing a hole in the sidewall.
Ooh, that's a real problem.
Yeah. Luckily, I was still under my bumper-to-bumper warranty. So, yeah, got to drive around in a nice Buick LaCrosse, brand new Buick LaCrosse, for about 3 weeks while they
Did
were
you
waiting
put
for the new
diesel
engine.
fuel in it?
Yeah. This Buick, if a 0% interest rate on this thing hadn't been more than the cost of my house payment still, I would have loved to own the car.
Okay.
Chevy Blazer
Military
one.
had these for a long time.
Uh-huh.
This is a modified Chevy K5 Blazer. Okay. They converted the 350 small block engine to a diesel engine,
That Oldsmobile 350, yeah.
Mm.
and they added a 24-volt battery system like all other military vehicles. Let's see if I can wait. And there's the 24 volts military slave receptacle for jumping the vehicle off. And then, other than that, it's pretty much a standard off-the-shelf K5 Blazer. But it's a diesel. That's kind of...
Yeah.
So NDOT was on a kick for a while. They converted a bunch of our vehicles over to propane. Start off for most of them when they first started it. Not very well because several of them caught on fire due to poor wiring. But it would start off it was a gas and propane mix. You started off on gas, and then once you reached a certain engine temperature, it would automatically kick over to propane, and you run on that. And some bean counter down in Indy thought it would be a great idea to add those onto our plow trucks.
That don't sound quite right to me.
No, because I'm walking around. I got first time getting called out for the season to go plow snow. I'm doing my walk around, and I come around the driver's side, and right between the bed and the cab is this big old propane tank. I looked at that, turned around, walked back in the foreman's office, said, "Why the hell is there a bomb strapped to the side of my truck?" "What do you mean a bomb?" "The propane tank. If I get T-boned, it is right above my diesel tank. Why do I have a bomb strapped to the side of my truck?"
All it would take was the propane exploding, and the diesel would be compressed enough to where that entire tank would be a bomb too.
Mm-hmm.
You're exactly right.
Oh, that's almost as...
And the only thing that would be worse is if the bed of the truck was filled with ammonium nitrate.
Joe, that's one of the reasons I got in trouble at work and was transferred to our brush department, is they decided that they were going to buy these new swap bed trucks.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen those? Hey, Sarah.
No. Good night, sir.
It was an international single axle, long wheelbase single axle.
Okay.
The only thing is, they weighed out at about 32,000 pounds
That's a
Okay.
lot of truck.
on a single axle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
State of Tennessee maximum is 40,000. Then you throw a bed on it, that pumps it up to right at 33,000, 33 to 34,000.
Then you fill the bed up and
You
Well,
could.
at that point, you can put a couple stones in is all you're going to get.
That's it. They got automatic leaf blower or leaf suckers. To suck. You've seen the leaf trucks that suck up the leaves.
mm-hmm.
Loaded, they're 39,500.
Once you fill them with wet leaves.
Yeah. Finally, we'd had enough of that shit. One of our OSHA snitches that he calls OSHA on everything. He called the state, and they showed up outside the area that we would dump the leaves and started rolling scales on trucks, or trucks on scales, loaded with wet leaves.
Wow.
They were rolling in at about 42,000.
Yeah, and that was just barely loaded, wasn't it?
Barely loaded.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, needless to say, the guy that ordered, I asked him, I said, why did you not get these as tandems? He said, it'd cost more to put an extra axle on it. Yeah, but you could haul twice the fucking weight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Needless to say, he's no longer employed.
I have long held a theory close to my heart that bureaucrats are not hired for their intelligence. They must have some other talent that gets them hired.
No, he wasn't a bureaucrat. This guy was a mechanic over the fleet maintenance.
They got.
Yeah.
Did he get his degree from the Cracker Jack box?
Well, let's just say after the new trucks were purchased, he bought a new home, new $500,000 home. But he didn't take any kickback. They couldn't find no proof of a kickback.
Just because you didn't find proof, absence of evidence is not evidence of absence.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ryan jumped in. We said hi, Ryan.
Hey, Ryan.
But yeah, I got in trouble with. I mean, that's how I got over in the other department, and now hurt my back. Can't do anything anymore.
Yeah, we when I first started with NDOT, they had a couple. I plowed for what was considered the redheaded stepchild of all the other units in our district. We called it Dark Side. It's over on the west side of Gary.
Yeah.
And we had probably the shittiest building, the worst equipment out of all the other units, yet we took care of the busiest stretch of interstate in our district. And I was, my first couple years, I plowed Calumet Avenue, which is US 41, from 94 up to the Illinois state line, in normally a single axle Sterling that had no AM/FM radio. The cigarette lighter port was hanging on by its wires. I had to shut off half my safety lights for the salt to spread. And for a real treat, you had to have the window rolled down to run the heat so you didn't get carbon monoxide poisoning.
Did you have to put on your Fred Flintstone shoes to apply the brakes?
No, this was one of the few that didn't have the hole in the floorboard.
Oh.
My wife, when she worked at NDOT, actually had a truck where they had to keep a rag down in the floorboard hole so you didn't get splashed with the snow coming up from underneath. the dashboard was held on by zip ties. And one night it decided to just shut off all her interior lights to where she couldn't see her speed or anything.
Now, we had some trucks like that when I first started at the city. They started enforcing a seatbelt rule. So, as you're sitting on the milk crate, they had a rope that you tied around your waist.
Well, my brother had a 63 Rambler when he was in high school, which I believe was the first car that offered seat belts back then, but his did not have one. And him and his friends used to go to Champaign to go out drinking and down on in Campus Town. But he had a hole in the floorboard on the front passenger side. And my brother was driving down Interstate 74, and his friend Charlie Dan was sitting there chugging down Budweisers. And as he's getting done with it, my brother is saying, "I don't want those cans in here in case we get pulled over." He said, "You being drunk's one thing, but having open or empty beer cans is definitely incriminating." So he was taking them as he got done drinking them and throwing them through the hole in the floorboard. As they were driving down the highway, it hit at such an angle that it popped up out from the back side of the car, shooting off at the car behind him. And of course, my brother's friend got a nickname called Bombardier Dan after that for the longest time. But my dad, when he did eventually find out about their little Saturday night exploits in Champaign, he made my brother fix that with a piece of galvanized metal.
You just make a trap door.
Yeah.
Yeah, those old Sterlings we had, we finally had gotten a bunch of new trucks at our unit one year, and they were all excited because, you know, we actually got new stuff for once. It wasn't hand-me-downs or anything like that. And we had a snowstorm coming up, and I hadn't gotten the phone call. I'm like, what the heck? So I call up for him. I'm like, "Hey, are you guys going to need me tonight? I need to know so I can take a nap." He's like, "Unless the shop pulls off a miracle, we're not going to need you for a couple weeks." I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "We've got 3 Sterlings and 1 International still up and running. All the other brand new trucks are down." Yeah. That's when we found out that DEF doesn't like plowing. Because they all had the new DEF systems.
Oh.
Yep. We're getting down to the wire, folks.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
Every time I see that, I expect Goldie Hawn in the bikini with all the graffiti painted all over her dancing.
Suck it to me.
Well,
Yep.
let's wrap it up, guys. Be sure, if you're still watching, hop over to Dan's pages to watch Last Man Standing. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to try to get some sleep tonight. But we will be back Saturday at 11 p.m. for another edition of Stupid O'Clock. What are we going to talk about? We don't know. How long are we going to talk about it? We don't know. So it's that time, guys. Time to say good night, everybody. Say it.
Good
Good
night,
night,
everybody.
everybody.
Bye, con Dios.
I gotta see the doctor. This thumb's getting real twitchy on me. All right. Good night, everybody.
have slipped the surly bonds of earth and danced the skies on laughter-silvered wings. Sunward I've climbed and joined the tumbling mirth of sun-split clouds and done 100 things you have not dreamed of. Wheeled and soared and swung high in the sunlit silence. Hovering there, I've chased the shouting wind along and flung my eager craft through footless halls of air. Up, up the long, delirious, burning blue, I've topped the windswept heights with easy grace, when never lark nor even eagle flew. And while with silent, lifting mind, I've trod the high, untrespassed sanctity of space, put out my hand and touched the face of God.